All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, Vic here. We are going to be talking about Photoshop, thumbnails, making really cool thumbnails. Everybody agrees that the best way to get more traffic to your YouTube channel is with thumbnails. But how do you make them without spending 3 or 4 days like the top YouTubers do? Tonight's training, I'm going to go deep into what I do with Photoshop and how to make thumbnails that are really simple. I was inspired by these images I see on Hulu. And Hulu, in case you don't know what that is, the streaming service makes custom thumbnails for each show. And we're going to break that down and how you can do this too. I'm joined by my business partner in New York City. I'm in California, the home of the Doobie Brothers. Mr. Peter Wolfing in New York. How you doing, man?
Hey, thank you so much, Vic. Appreciate it. Glad to do this show with you today. I'm really interested in the topic and what you have to show because I've been doing this marketing thing for 30 years and have been on and off with Photoshop. My love-hate relationship, and really the only thing that has really stopped me from really using it a lot is just being able to sit down and learn the basics. So it's, for me, and I think with most people, we just want it done. We don't want to think about how to do it. And Photoshop can be super complicated if you don't sit down and follow basic rules and learn how to physically use it, because it's really a very powerful piece of software and used by most designers out there. But there are some very simple basic functions that you can use to be able to spice up your thumbnails and just do a lot of really cool graphic stuff that probably accesses 1, 2, or 3% of the software itself, because you don't need to get into the super complicated stuff unless you really want to. So tonight we're going to be talking about thumbnails. We're going to talk about the basic stuff that you need to know, so you as a layperson can get in there and start doing basic Photoshop skills, and to be able to get in there instead of having to farm it out to other companies. 300 around somewhere around $300 a month to a company to do Photoshop stuff for me. And after a while, I was like, forget this, So it was just too much. But for the basic stuff, if I just had the knowledge to do the basic stuff, I could handle 95% of the work that I need to have done. And then the other stuff that's more complicated, I'll farm that out to somebody else or a company to do that. So last week we were on a broadcast. And I said, man, Vic, that'd be so great if you could just teach some basic Photoshop skills. I think that would be really handy for the members that we have, and for really so many people out there that would find it really beneficial to be able to look over your shoulder, find out, the ins and outs and how to navigate through Photoshop. And then now with the Photoshop stuff that they have, you don't even have to buy the whole software. You can just rent it every month. So you rent it as you need it to be able to use it. So it's great. You don't have to spend, what was the original cost on that? $300, $400, $500, $600 or more for the software itself. So for a very reasonable price, you can just rent it every month and then get in there and make these really cool thumbnails to get yourself seen better on the different platforms that you have, especially on YouTube. Make some cool graphics for Facebook and the different social media platforms as well. So with that, let me turn it over to Vic, and let's get this show on the road.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So let me explain how this is going to work. We're doing a multi-camera shoot tonight. We're also going to be recording this in 4K. And the 4K is going to be available inside the members area. What is 4K? Well, that's what you really need to be able to do this. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my monitor. I'm going to be using a clip-on mic. I'm going to be also showing you a brief PowerPoint presentation that I created to set the context for tonight's training. So we would love this to be participatory. So please, if you have a ability to chat, please put a comment. Let us know how you're doing, what you're up to, how you like this training, and please share it. YouTube is a sharing medium. It's all about sharing knowledge, sharing wealth. I've been doing Photoshop since the early 90s. That's a long time. And I've taught a number of people how to use Photoshop for the very first time. And I want you to listen, okay? listen, unmute your, like, when you're watching the replay on this, did you know, Peter, that most people on YouTube are watching silently with closed captions? So they're just reading the text, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to miss half of the emotional continuity, what I'm talking about, if you don't listen. So what we need to do is make sure that you listen, and we're going to get rolling with that, all right?
Okay, great.
So I'm going to switch to my other microphone right now. Peter, when did you start using Photoshop? Just tell us a little about your story. By the way, many of you don't know this. A lot of people, my friends, I want to shout out some acknowledgments. Okay, let me give some acknowledgments here real quick. All right, I want to give a shout out to the man who inspired tonight's show, Daryl Eves of the YouTube Formula. This is his book. I've been reading it now twice. I finished it. I'm going through it again, and I'm actually putting all these principles into practice. And guess what? YouTube reached out to me today and said, "Hey, Vic, we would like to interview you. Fill out this form." What is your channel about? I'm going to show you that. Also, want to acknowledge Roberto. Roberto, I really appreciate you've been inspiring. I just watched you generate things in Super Chat that I've never seen any other YouTuber do before. So, Roberto, thank you for being a friend and inspiring in many respects tonight's show. I got started online in the 80s, more or less. I was a programmer in the 80s. So most of the people that are top YouTubers weren't even born yet. So I'm an old dog. I'm a Doobie Brothers fan. I'm also a piano player. And I'm usually the guy behind the scenes that makes stuff work. So you're going to be in the inner circle right now. Okay. So I'm going to pass the camera to Peter. I'm going to mute out this camera and we're going to go right to the screen. All right.
All right.
Peter,
All right, guys. So, yep.
tell me about your experience with Photoshop. We got a bunch of people joining us live already, so that's awesome.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, I'm usually the kind of person where I kind of see the big picture and I just want to have it done. I don't necessarily want to have to do it myself, but I also know that sometimes, and you've said this many times, Vic, is that sometimes that explaining what I want to have done to someone for them to do it, I could probably just do it myself in a fraction of the time, right? So it's a self-defeating purpose to have to do that. So if I learned if I could do very, very basic Photoshop skills, great, which I can, and that's just through trial and error of finding things. I didn't go through any tutorials or anything like that. I just kind of figured basic stuff out, but very, very, very limited on what I'm able to do. And I know Photoshop is very, very powerful, makes some beautiful stuff. But as I said earlier, for me to sit down and focus on a training for however amount of time, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm running so many different things and companies and websites and things like that. So I never had the chance to really get around to do it. And I don't know how many years that I've been going in and out of using basic stuff on Facebook, but it must be 10, 15, 20 years, I guess. I don't even know how long Photoshop is around here, but it's a long time that I've been kind of messing around with the basics of Facebook without really diving into learning the more powerful stuff that it has to show. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of those basic things today to be able to up my game and better my skill set.
Awesome. So big shout out to StreamYard. This is new technology. All the links for everything we do is in the description below this video. So I'm going to switch to this other lapel mic. So you'll have a much better quality audio here in a moment. All right. Okay. So let's see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I need to do a little technical stuff to switch my microphone. I don't want to use this microphone because it's not the highest quality I want to have here. So let me see what I can do here. I'm going to share my audio another way. So let me go and do that. Okay. Audio. Ah, there it is. Now we got it. Okay, perfect.
Okay, guys, just be patient. Vic will be on in a second. Just he has to connect the audio.
Okay, can you hear my audio now?
Yeah, I can.
All right, how's the quality?
Great. We got 2 Vics on right now.
Are you hearing a tapping?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I want to acknowledge some people who are here tonight. We have Aloha Concepts Marketing. And Bill Ritchie's here. Lemuel, always good to see you. And a lot of other people we don't know, but some of you are here actually in the chat. We're streaming simultaneously on several YouTube channels at the same time, so it's pretty cool. You got 2 Vics here. All right, so let's go and get this on the road. I am recording. I have to set up the recorder. So, Peter, you want to talk a little bit about intentional mentoring while I do that?
Sure. Many of you here are from our intentional mentoring group, and that's where we intern 3 times a week. Mondays at 7, we do a call. Tuesdays at 7, we do a streaming broadcast, and Thursdays as well, we do a streaming broadcast. And that is a way that we group mentor people. And we do, I'd say, 3 to 6 hours a week of training for people where you can not only look over our shoulder, but also see different aspects of the internet marketing business, affiliate marketing, network marketing, entrepreneurial mindset, things like that. And you can get more information about that if you're a member of one of my websites. Just go in the back office, look for my products, and then go to a mentor program. Very reasonable price every single month. And you can also do an annual, which will save you approximately 50% there as well too, and also commissionable. So if you don't know what I'm talking about right here and you'd like to find out more about that, please get back to Victor and he'll give you more information about that. So that is intentional mentoring and the different things that we teach during some of our classes that we have. Back to you, Vic.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And tonight is also designed for SociSnap members. This is a supplemental training, and it's also here to show you how to improve your thumbnails, because this is so important, because SociSnap focuses on increasing the quality of your titles. And this is all about the graphic that goes together with the title to create the most engagement for your videos. So if you can share real briefly about SociSnap, Peter, and then I'm going to go into the deck.
Well, yes, SociSnap is a software product that's done via browser, and it's Victor's really flagship product right now. And I've used it since its inception in the early days a few years ago. I've not only had a great success referring other people to it, but it really wasn't my initial goal to do that. I just love the product. And I was in using a product which kind of goes back to what I was saying before. I don't want to have to sit there and figure it out, because if I have to figure it out, I'm not going to figure it out. It's going to go on the shelf with all the other stuff I bought that I don't have time to figure out. So I was just in there. It was just very intuitive, just like a word browser, basically. And you can take any post that you have, either type it in, you can do it in audio with the pro version, or just paste it in, change everything to underline, bold, style, all the different styles that you might think of, italicize, put the emojis in there and so on, and really make your post pop off the page on social media. So instead of being just boring like everyone else's and everybody just scanning through it, not even really looking at it too much, you can make them stop in their tracks and say, oh, that looks interesting. And then they see your post. But it's not just post, it's also replies. It's also all the other social media networks. It's YouTube, all these other ones that you're using that makes it pop off the page. So as it says, social media editor makes your post pop off the page, which is exactly what it does. Within, I would venture to say, even the less tech savvy people, within 2 minutes, you can use this product. That's how simple it is to use, but it's really, really great. And if you don't increase your sales using this tool, I don't know what to tell you, because it's so easy to use and it's that good that, not to mention all the other training that's included in SociSnap as well too. And if you decide to take advantage of the pro training on the pro SociSnap version, then you have a lot more features as well too. But it's an incredible product. So we talk about it pretty much every time that we're on our sessions in the intentional mentoring, because it's really an integral part of what we do and how we do it, as well as some other items that we have as well. So back to you, Vic.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, now we've got all the technical difficulties out. I love to challenge myself sometimes. I want to start off with a phone and then go to the desktop and make it work. But, this is one of those make it work moments. So those of you who are live, thank you for your blessing. We had a bunch of people just still showing up. So really, really excited to have this presentation. All right. So listen. What we're going to talk tonight is very, very advanced stuff, okay? This is not a beginner training. We're going to be talking about thumbnails that pop, okay? This is one of the images that inspired me. I'm a big fan of Hulu. So we're going to be recreating this at the end. So I want to recommend that you use your phone for ideas and you look at the TV. Look at your television. Look at the big screen. On YouTube, the timer is on the right side. I'm going to bring up my laser pointer here so you can see it, okay? Right here, 8 minutes and 34 seconds. You never want to put your branding there, okay? Some people make a mistake and they put their logo there in the thumbnail. Don't do that. Put your logo on the left. You want to have less space, right? So you have to make sure, think of it this way. People are watching on their phones. So you have to have very few words, big letters, and it's got to be recognizable. So I looked at Hulu, and when I first tuned on Hulu last night on my big screen 4K TV, I saw this film, Golden Globe winner, Best Actress Motion Picture. This was the winner of the Golden Globe Awards. United States versus Billie Holiday. And that's a scene from the movie. But what I noticed was the branding gradient. That's this color right here, okay? That was not in the movie. But it allowed them to put, because of the color, they use white fonts because white fonts really pop. And then I looked at right below that, Movies for You 2067. What they did is they have, again, a pastel color, and then they bleed through the image. Wedding Crashers, same thing. It's bleeding through, so there's more gradients. White lettering, still picture, scene from video. I looked at some of my top friends who are YouTubers, like Alpha Gaming. I love his channel. Great guy. He's also using the same technique that Hulu does. Jevin Dovey, he uses another technique, which is slanting the text to get attention. He's got emotion on his face, but he's got color, right? And then I've been really following Nick Nimmin a lot. And of course, Mr. Beast. I mean, who goes, look at that. I ordered pizza and tipped the house. He actually gave the key to the house to the guy who delivered the pizza to him. For real. I mean, that's crazy. Right? He actually gave the house to the pizza delivery guy. That's what his channel's all about, coming up with more outrageous ways to give away money. And look at the shock value. So the shock is not just in the thumbnail, but it's in the title. Okay, 66 million views. Nick Nimmin had 21,000 views, and he's got the shock in his photo. But see, on TV, no one reads the descriptions. So a lot of you are spending time saying, hey, links in description. That only matters if people save the video from their phone, they watch it on their computer, and then they click on it. Most people these days don't even know how to access the description on their phones. You can access descriptions on your phone. All you do is click the little down caret, and it opens up the description. But most people still don't do it. You got to keep thumbnails super simple. And then this one, really, I said, okay, this is so simple. This is simply a still shot with a gradient laid on top of it. It's so simple. One picture, color gradient, big fonts. And just remember, the logo has to be on the left for YouTube thumbs. And so what do you think inspired today's thumbnail? Let me hear from you guys. What do you think inspired it? Give me some ideas. It was a very, very simple picture. I know you can't guess, but I just want to just tell you. Peter, you still there?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You ever watch Carpool Karaoke with James Corden?
I've seen 1 or 2 episodes, yeah.
Okay, so who do you think is more famous, James Corden or Paul McCartney?
Probably,
Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
This thumbnail inspired today's talk because anybody can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I show you what they're doing, look, James Corden is there. You can see his face, but he's not the main subject. The main subject is Paul McCartney. There is a purple gradient that they put on there, and then they airbrushed out his face so it pops. Okay? 58 million views. Okay? Logo is on the left. This is an example of a perfect thumbnail. It didn't need anything else. You see that, Peter?
Yep.
All right. So how today will go. First, I'm going to talk about why we are doing what we're going to do. That's this slide deck here. Second, I'm going to tell you the steps. It's still in the slide deck. And third, we're going to do the steps. Now, the tools will be hidden, but they will be available on the replay in the members area. Because they're too small and I can show you what I'm doing in real time. I've seen other people do trainings on Photoshop, and you can never tell what tool they're using because it's too small. So I'm just going to show you what the icons are before we start. And then when I'm actually doing the art, I'm going to talk about the tool, and then I will superimpose those graphics onto the replay. Fourth, we will recap what we did. So now let's get to it. So YouTube asked me today, what's the name of your main channel? Well, right now it's called Tube Relevance because I really wanted to make a training that followed my Facebook training. Many of you here today are customers of my Facebook training called Facebook Relevance. It was how to be more relevant on Facebook. Well, I've been transitioning away from Facebook and more to YouTube and more to Google properties because simple reason. It's affiliate friendly. It's marketer friendly. It's network marketer friendly. It has the ability to run ads on it that are really scalable. They have more than double the audience, and it's just massive how much traffic you can get in a very short amount of money, right? So my URL for my main channel, I can never change it. Peter, it's called Blogging Engineer, because I couldn't think of anything else, back in 2012 when I started this channel, because I was into blogging and I was an engineer. So I combined those two concepts, and I'm forever stuck with it. But once I got monetized, I can actually change my friendly name as many times as I want, about 3 times a year. But this is important, and you guys here and gals, watch these categories. These are not the typical categories that you see in the list of categories on your channel. But I thought, okay, what do I want my channel to be about? I talk about art and do it yourself. I talk about beauty, lifestyle, and fashion. I love comedy. I want to do a whole series on comedy. I want to do education. I want to do entertainment. I have a gaming videos. I'm doing a whole new Dungeons and Dragons sequence. I'm doing lifestyle and music. I'm also doing tech and travel and vlogs. And then other, which is webinar replays, live events. So for my channel to be just one of these things is way too limited. And that's one of the things that's really challenging when a lot of big YouTubers look at my channel and say, Vic, you're all over the place. Why don't you pick one thing and stick with it? Well, maybe not. Maybe what I need to do is find some common threads. So I started asking myself, what do all my videos have in common? And all of a sudden, a flash of insight came about. And I realized it's the butterfly effect. The definition of the butterfly effect is a property of chaotic systems, such as the atmosphere, by which small changes in initial conditions can lead to large-scale and unpredictable variation in the future state of the system. And I realized, okay, that's it. That's what I do. I've helped several people reach their first million of views. A friend of mine had almost 1 million views, and now he has more than 1 million views. Am I really an expert in going from 1 million to 1 billion? No, I haven't reached that yet. I'm almost at 3 million views right now on my own channel. But there are other experts that I study that are at that level. Okay, like Daryl. I recommend all of you go buy Daryl's book. Read it. I don't get a commission for it. All of us in the community are saying this is the Bible. Everyone should read this book before anything, because that'll give you the language, the foundation that you need to do it. Okay, the YouTube formula. So what can, Daryl has been responsible for, I think, 25 channels that have over 1 million subscribers each. I'm a very small fish in a giant pond compared to those people. But that's why I think I can help you. My focus is to help you get to your first million. After that, let other teachers take you to your next step. My job is to get you and show you what I did without a lot of effort. Cool? So before, I was the blogging engineer. This was me at a live event in Dallas, where I was part of a network marketing company that's no longer around. These were all of us top leaders in the company, all on stage doing the end of the event shot. If you reached a certain income level in the company, you were invited up on stage and you could get up there and shoot videos. And there were like 5,000 people in this stadium. So it was a really, really big deal. 5,000 people watching, 300 people on stage, and we were all the leaders. And for 9 years, my channel has had that on its cover. And so then I realized, okay, well, my channel is no longer just about blogging. Who blogs anymore, right? How many people are still blogging on WordPress? Not too many. Most people are writing Facebook posts. They're doing YouTube videos. So I wanted to come up with something, a brand identity that would be for my channel to have it morph. And it's like a butterfly. It's all about cultivating inspiration. I uploaded some piano music, right? So after, this is our new brand, live virtual events. The world is our stage. It's no longer 5,000 people in a stadium. there's probably going to be 1,000 people watching at a time, and several thousand people will watch the replays. And a lot of people say, well, Vic, how much traffic do you get? I can get as much traffic as I want because I know how to buy traffic. You know, I can spend $500 and get 10,000 people to watch my video. That's not a problem for me. It's simple. I know how to do it. But it's not as exciting as having you guys do it, okay? It's not about me. It's all about you. 100 people interacting. I want to help leaders grow. And this is my mandala artwork. And I want to have piano music tools and training. So I needed to come up with an emoji. Now here's where SociSnap comes in again, okay? SociSnap helps your posts pop off the page because it's an emoji editor. And we're adding, this Friday, we're going to be adding the butterfly emoji because the butterfly emoji is very, very cool. And that's what the emoji looks like when you use it on an Apple device, like an iPhone. It's a beautiful blue, translucent blue butterfly. So I went over to Adobe Stock and I picked up this image of the butterfly. It's almost the exact same butterfly. And that's now our channel symbol. So tonight we're going to go through the 3 T's. Okay? Tools, training, and technology. And that's really what my training side of the channel is all about. So Peter, you've been sitting there quietly. I'd love to have you maybe summarize what we go into before we go into the actual tools. Because you've been known as the tools guy. And I want to give you a little bit more camera time. We're going to come on and we're going to go into the deeper parts of this right now.
Well, what tools do you want me to talk about?
Well, just being a tools guy, what could you tell people to get inspired to them? Because it's sort of like, the way I look at it this way. I taught Photoshop to one of the world's greatest artists, mural artists in the world. His murals are in Trump Tower. They're in nonprofit organizations. They're at the golf courses. They're in government entrees. He's one of my dear friends, Thomas Christian Wolf, and I taught him Photoshop back in the 90s. And so I love teaching tools. And I'm really good at it. And I've been using Photoshop for a long time. So I feel I can actually show you really, really simply how to do these simple things. And so, Peter, I'm really going to teach tonight as if there was no one else listening, just you. Because I can't hear anyone else. If any of you want to come on camera, we do have Super Chat. And if you want to engage with that, then we can send you the link on how you can join us on camera after the end, and we can actually look at your channel and maybe do some channel reviews at the end. But what I wanted to ask you, Peter, was the importance of tools. See, people think that if I buy a tool, I'm going to be better at marketing. And the reality is, I can't even lift a thumbnail to Thomas's artistic ability as a world-class mural artist and a painter. He paints with a stylus. He gets paid 6 to 7 figures for each painting, right? So it's a different league. And just because you give someone better tools doesn't make them an artist. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
Right.
We can give SociSnap.
Somebody gave me a Steinway, forget it, you know. Somebody gave me a Steinway piano, forget it, because I'm not a piano player. But yeah, tools are vitally important because there's so many. There's tools. Could be a software program. It could be a marketing system that you're using. Could be SociSnap. Could be Builderall. Could be a lot of different things. But you have to get in to be able to use the tool to make the tool effective. And if you're affiliate marketing or network marketing, you should have to use some type of tools to be able to sift and sort your prospects or people that you want to talk to or get the traffic there, because it's like building your business with a backhoe versus a shovel, right? And you know what I mean? So once you learn how to use the tools to do specific things, then you can make your life so much easier. But you have to be careful. Don't be a slave to the tool. Like Facebook is a great tool, but if you're not used the right way, it'll suck you into it. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube is a great tool, but if you get sucked into it, it'll just eat up your time. So, but it's a fantastic tool. So if you learn how to use these tools to be effective and then get out and move into something else, just use what you feel is the best part of that tool to be able to run your business or to leverage your business to become more effective, then you got it really going great. Because there are a lot of very effective apps and a website, web tools out there, software tools, things like that you can use. But be careful, be careful. But you have to get in there and start using it so you become more effective. You're not going to be as effective in Photoshop as Mr. Wolf is, of course. But if you up your game, you're paid in direct proportion to your value to the marketplace, right? So if you increase your value to the marketplace by copywriting, by Photoshop, by funnel building, by all these different things, then guess what? You should demand to be paid more. And these tools can help you get there. So back to you, Vic.
Yeah. And so this tool we're using right now is called StreamYard, and I was still learning it. And, we flubbed it a little bit in the beginning, but I think it's really, really cool. It has so much more variation than Zoom that a lot of us are using. And I just noticed my friend Brandon Duff is here. Good to see you, man. Nice to meet you. We were chatting earlier today. And, big shout out to him. I was telling him that, the shoemaker's children go barefoot. One of my websites is pianoalchemist.com. And I just thought, what? I was doing a live event at one point, and I got like 1,500 opt-ins for people who wanted to get a coupon code for a pre-release of my piano music. And I just put up a simple capture page, and I got like 1,500 opt-ins. And he pointed out to me today that, hey, you forgot to put your pixels on. And I said, oh, man, you're a Facebook expert, and you forgot to put your pixels on? That's like the most newbie mistake. But, I didn't care. I didn't care because I just threw up something really fast and I got the lead. I got their email. So why do I really need their pixel? I can upload their email to Facebook and run ads to them anyway. Besides, I'm more of the mindset now that I see ads not as the be all end all. I see ads as the reminder that you exist. Okay. You have to spend the ads almost like, I was explaining this to one of my clients the other day, and it's a really tough concept for people to get. Even Ryan Dice, my friend who created Digital Marketer many, many years ago, at his last keynote at Traffic and Conversion, he said the same thing. He says, do things just because it's a great idea, not because there's a measurable value behind it. He made more money from adopting that philosophy than actually micro-measuring all the stuff. If you want to be analytical, here's how you do it. You look at your gross revenue. You look at your gross advertising budget. And you know what? Most of your ads, you have no idea. That's the butterfly effect. You have no idea that this one thing you may have boosted for $5 might have been that one thing that tipped one of your subscribers to actually finally clicking on some other retargeting ad you had running that caused them to buy or join your business. You've got to be doing everything simultaneously. It's called multi-channel marketing. You can't just be doing one thing. You have to be doing multiple channels. You have to be doing Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and you have to be pushing about, pushing. But the thing is, not you. The best way to go is to have your affiliates do that. Have your tribe do that. Have other people talking about you. The best thing is when other people are talking about you, not you, right? Yep. I get more value from my affiliates talking about me. What I've started doing on it, I almost feel embarrassed to say this, but I got rid of my sales video on my sales page from SociSnap because I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it anymore. The sales video didn't connect as much as a video that was made by one of our affiliates. So what I decided to do is, you know what? I'm going to put my affiliates' videos first and forget about the sales video. When I looked at my analytics, most people look at the thumbnail. They don't actually hit the play button on the sales video. They skip the sales video and then they read the little summary of what the sales video is about below the fold. And then they click buy now because someone else recommended it to them. We got sales the other day of SociSnap because someone else posted a post that they used our tool with on a Facebook group, and they acknowledged, hey, man, I used your tool. I love your tool. It was great. And people were asking, well, how'd you make such a cool post? I use SociSnap. And then they say, oh, what's SociSnap? And then they Google it and they YouTube it and they see all my videos about it. We have a whole tribe of people. There's something like, I don't know, I've probably put up like 3 hours of SociSnap videos already. And they all teach you various things. So it's kind of a strategy where the brand itself, the tools, the training, it's kind of like, I learned it from Salesforce. It's a ubiquitous platform, right? Do you know most people don't actually use Salesforce directly? They use something that's using Salesforce because everything is using Salesforce. Everything's powered by Salesforce, but you don't even know that, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the power of being, a CRM, customer relationship management. That's actually what Brandon does. So great point. As our reach and interests evolve, it makes sense to not limit too tight a brand definition. I love that. And I would love to know who you are. It just says Facebook user. But anyway, I want to get into three T's because really my channel is all about tools, training, and technology and having a lot of fun. So let's go to it. I love being able to switch. All right. And I can actually see what's going on. So here we go. So Photoshop gives you these tools. And these ones with the arrow, the one I'm mainly going to focus on, this is the airbrush. Okay. And then this right here is the fill or the fill-in tool, which allows you to add colors. And if you right click on it or command click on it on a Mac, you're going to have it open up into a gradient. And layers. I do lots of stuff with layers. Everything's in layers. Okay, so here's 2 Adobe stock photos that we bought. And here's my gradients. And as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm airbrushing on top of that. So some key concepts we're going to cover tonight. The first concept is canvas size. 4K, okay? You want to be authoring in 4K. Why? Because everything's going that way, okay? It's 3840 by 2160. Those are the exact dimensions of your thumbnail. So you want to make your thumbnail that size and you want to export it in 1080p for other platforms, okay? 1080p is 1920 by 1080. The next key concept is place embedded, okay? So there is a command in the file menu where you click file, and I always click place embedded so I don't have to go finding the image somewhere else. And when I save my Photoshop file, all of my images are all in one place. And it automatically adds it to a layer, which is the next concept. We're going to be talking about layers, and we're also going to be talking about the opacity, and we're going to be talking about the multiply and divide. So listen for that. And finally, we're going to talk about masks, creating masks. Okay? And we're going to be using a mask to create this nice shadow effect around my model so that the parts of her face that I want to highlight are emphasized against the colors that I put on her background. So we're going to begin now our 4K recording. Our 4K recording, I'm going to be switching monitors, and you guys are going to be watching the secondary monitor. I just wanted to show you this is what the 4K recording will look like. And if you want to become a channel member, there's a join button below this, depending upon where you're watching. And you can become a member of our channel, support the channel. All the money that we receive from this goes back to advertising. We believe in reinvesting money and giving it back to Google because Google gives us so much, we want to give back. So that's kind of my personal philosophy on that. So these right here are where all the tools live. So they're very, very small. As you can see, you probably could never see them. Here's where my layers are living. And I have a very high resolution 4K monitor that I work on. And this is an actual screenshot of what my monitor looks like. And so I'm going to switch monitors now. And before I do that, I'm going to give another shout out to Peter. And we're going to have some fun. All right. So, Peter, what do you think? You excited for part 2?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looks very interesting. The layers have always, even though I didn't know anything about Photoshop, really, layers were something I kind of eventually figured out, and very, very helpful to be able to go in there and change a few things. It was all just process of, well, this works, this doesn't, this works, this doesn't. And that's kind of how I figured it out. But to actually see you do it will be very helpful.
Okay, so you should see a beautiful waterfall right now, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with just a little bit. I kind of like that because that image, to me, it symbolizes what we're going to be doing tonight. We take a beautiful piece of art like that, and then we make it our own. I actually want to take a screenshot of that and play with it. So let me go. That's another beautiful picture. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that. And okay, got it. So now let's see what it looks like. If you have any questions while I'm going through this, please go ahead, and I'm just going to make a rectangular crypt because it's not. Okay, I'm just going to grab a rectangle around it and get that. Okay, so we're going to copy that. I'm just going to show you what's possible very quickly in Photoshop. Right now, you should see a woman with the that's whispering, right, Peter?
Yep.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste this background into here. And I'm going to multiply, or I could do. You see you see how I can blend the two together? You see that?
Yeah, I can see it. I just don't know how to do it.
Okay. So I'm going to take a screenshot of what I just did. This is the simplest thing you can do. All I did was copy and paste it. And I pasted one in front of the other. So I put my image on top of the other. And I used the word screen in the drop down. That's it. In the layer drop down, I typed screen. And now I have this beautiful image right there. You see that?
Yep.
So now what I want to do is I'm going to add maybe a font, and I can add the word secrets, right? So if I want to make the word secrets pop, I can go in here and I can change the word. So it could be a difference. It could be a hard light. It could be a soft light. It could be a vivid. So if I go here and I change this to black, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go in here and multiply. And you see how the word secrets just pops. And this is what's called multiply. So I'm just kind of playing around at the moment, but I'm going to go and recreate what I just did to create the thumbnail image for tonight, okay? So what we're doing is I have a nice word, a singular word called secrets. And what most people do is they want to make it black. Well, this is the image I just started with, but it doesn't really pop. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go create a new layer. I'm going to call this gradient. Actually, I have to start the 4K recording. We didn't have the 4K recording running, right? So let me start the 4K recording because we have to start over here. Let me go and start that recording. Okay, full screen. Record. All right. So I would assume all of you, okay, could find a video on YouTube that will teach you how to go buy a stock photo. We just bought this photo from Adobe Stock, and you could just type the word secrets in there, okay? Right? You know how to do that, right, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is this is what I started with. I'm going to change the color of secrets. Instead of black, I'm going to make it white. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is now I made a new layer. So I'm doing file, layer, and then new layer. I'm going to call this one gradient. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab the color that I want. I'm going to bring the color picker over here, okay? And I'm going to pick something like a turquoise blue. That's not the exact color, but let me go find the color I want. It's a little bit more like that, okay? And then my secondary color is going to be a darker blue, like that. And then what I do is I'm just going to use the gradient tool. I'm going to show you what that tool looks like. Okay, it looks just like this. This is called the gradient tool. It lives right under the fill tool. Okay. So I'm going to add that gradient tool. And I'm just going to make a box and fill in everything in that box from light to from dark to light. So it's going to look like this. Okay. So now you can see that basically is the color. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that below I'm now going to place that below my subject. And you're going to see when I take her image, I'm using something called multiply. Okay. Are you with me still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply. Because what it's doing is it's multiplying the picture above with the gradient below. Okay. So that would be cool, but it doesn't really pop. And remember, what inspired my talk today, do all of you remember? It was this slide right here, Paul McCartney, right? It's a gradient, but Paul is very clearly seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go in and I'm going to do something called a layer mask. So I'm going to add layer and then layer mask, and it's going to be a reveal all layer mask. Then I'm going to grab my airbrush, and I have a nice big brush. And you notice if I'm on the wrong layer, I make a mistake, and all I'm doing is blurring it out. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to undo that. So what you have to do is actually blur out the layer with the gradient. So I'm now going to go to the gradient layer. And I'm going to go right to her eyes because I want her eye to be the central focus. And you see how now it's actually making it darker? That's not what I want. So we're going to undo that too. So you have to know which layer to put it on. So oftentimes we learn by making mistakes and then doing things right. So what I'm doing now is instead of adding the layer mask to the subject, I add the layer mask to the gradient. Let me say that again. You leave the subject alone and you add the layer mask to the gradient. And I'm going to take a screenshot here real quick so that you guys can follow along. Okay. I'm in my layers panel. Okay, you see that? This is my photo of the girl. And this is my gradient right below it. These are the two that I made before when I was designing the image. And now this is my gradient that I'm doing right now before you live. Peter, are you following me?
Yeah.
Okay. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you guys really want to learn this, oftentimes it takes several repetitions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add the layer mask to the gradient. And that is basically going to the layer panel. Then I go to layer mask and then I go to reveal all. If you could see my other monitor, that's what it would say. Now, when I'm painting in black with my airbrush, I set it to black. And I paint with my airbrush. I actually select the gradient. So let me show you how that looks. Okay. This is my mask directly next to my image. And I just put my mouse right on the gradient. And now I'm painting right on top of the gradient. Okay. The mask of the gradient. And anything that's black is going to show all the way through. And that's the easiest way to do it. This is how Hulu does it. This is how everybody does it. It's really, really super simple. So now what I do is I go to the eye and I paint on her eye. And you see that? The color just comes right through. And I paint right here with a big airbrush. And then I paint right here. And that's it. You see how simple that was, Peter?
Yeah, it's nice.
So it maintains the brand. Now, if I don't like that color, watch this. I can adjust the hue to anything I want. I can make it green. I can make it red. I can make it really deep purple. I can make it pink like that. Okay. What I'm doing here is I'm adjusting the hue and the saturation. So now what I might want to do is do a little bit more art on the mask. And I'm going to go in here and highlight her neck a little bit more and highlight her hand a little bit more and emphasize her ear a little bit more. Right? Now then what I want to do is maybe make the brush size a little bit smaller. And I just go in here and touch it up a little bit. And I could just erase these right over here. So all this white that's here. You just paint around it so it looks natural, right? And the command for that is flow. So if I want a smaller flow, I can maybe set it like I was using a 15% flow or an 11% flow. A bigger brush with a flow, with a slightly higher flow, allows you to create these really nice effects. And it doesn't look doctored. So like this area looked a little doctored. So I just go in there and I just cleaned it up. So it still looks a little bit more doctored than before. Certain colors make it look more doctored. But you get the basic gist of what I'm doing here, right, Peter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Any questions before we move on?
So somebody asks, what version of Photoshop are you using?
I am using...
Yeah, if you're on
22.2.2.0.
Yeah, if you're on the monthly subscription, I think they update it all the time, so you're probably on the most current one.
Yeah, I'm on the most current one. All right. So let's move over to the let's see where this was. This is Golden Globe Awards. Shall we? All right. So you see my Golden Globe Awards right there?
Yes.
So if I wanted to recreate something kind of like the Golden Globe Awards, how would we go ahead and do that? Well, I start with a blank canvas, and then I went into the actual image itself that was there in its raw form, and I just dropped it in. So that's what it looks like. I just took a screenshot. I went to hulu.com, and that's like right at the homepage. And then what I did is I grabbed the original image from their website, which is this one. Right now, I'm going to unmute that, and you can see this is what it looks like. And on their website, they're actually using the gradient in JavaScript. That's kind of cool how they do that. Obviously, you can't do that on television, but they have multiple layers. So at its root, there's basically a structure where you have a white screen and then a pastel screen. And so then what I did is I said, okay, I'm just going to make that. I drew a rectangle, and I filled it in with the fill tool, and I used the multiply so that, like, take a look. When I multiply these two layers together, I can now move with the move tool. I can move my layer so it lines up perfectly. Okay. So now I have my move tool. I lined up perfectly with the Golden Globe. And as you can see, there it is. So now I basically have the same structure as the Golden Globe. Oops, that's my model. Let me go into here. Yeah, so it's basically the same structure. And what I'm going to ultimately do is have a little blending effect like that. That's going to look almost the same when we're done with it. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go grab my model. I got a bunch of models. So that's my first model. And you see that when I grab her image and I paste it on here, oops, excuse me. I paste it on here. Pieces of her are cut out. I'm actually not going to use her. I'm going to use her. Okay, because I think she looks a lot more like that image. So the first thing I need to do is use something called the magic wand. And all I do is I click my magic wand around her. And then I hit the delete key. And you see how it sort of traces around her. Obviously, you can go in there and clean this up with a brush. I'm just showing you the basic moves here. Okay. So now once I basically have gotten rid of the white around there, I can move her right here as I like. Now I'm going to go grab my other model. And I've already traced her before. She already looks nice, right? But she's facing the wrong way. So what I do here is I do an image, and then I do an adjustment. And I do what's called image and then image rotation. And then I hit flip horizontal. Oops, sorry. That didn't do that. Edit, and then I go to transform. Excuse me. Edit, transform, and then flip horizontal. But I'm on the wrong image. So let me undo that. I'm going to go grab this layer. Then I'm going to go in here, edit, transform. Flip horizontal. And so there we got it. So there are my two model shots, kind of like the Golden Globe. So now I can do is I can make her a little bigger. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back and look at this again. And you see that they don't actually have a full body shot. So what I probably want to do is I'm going to go grab these two women. Grab her first. And I'm just going to put her like right there. And I'm going to grab this girl. Okay. And I'm going to go back to this one. Peter, tell me when you think it looks like it's the right proportion. The head is about the same size. Probably right around there, maybe.
Yeah, the one in the red has to go a little bit down more. Or the other one up.
Let's look at our two women here. Okay, so they look, well, actually, let's not go there. Let's go with the thumbnail from YouTube, which is here. Actually, the thumbnail from YouTube is here. So what they did here is they kind of spun it around. So I'm just going to work with the channel graphic first. So let's go. You said this one needs to go down a little bit.
Yeah, the one in the red just a little bit smaller. A little bit down for a little higher than.
Well, I was thinking we should make them probably both a little bit bigger. There we go. That looks about. Doesn't that look kind of natural?
Yep.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back here and we're going to create a new layer. And I'm going to draw a rectangle. And I'm going to fill in that rectangle. Let's see how it looked. It went from color to not color. So we're going to go and grab that color first. So I'm going to grab that color, go back to the rectangle, and now I'm going to go in and go from here to almost a white. Actually, it's reversed, so let me do it this way. Yeah, that's how they had it. So you can see there's a gradient, and then it goes into the color, right? All I now do is change the sequence of the layers and put that layer right here. And there we have it. Pretty close, huh, Peter?
Yeah. Yep. I like the gradients. It gives a different dimension to it.
Yeah. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab do something like watch us live. And get rid of maybe the word us. And sometimes what I like to do is what I could do is I could take this word live and give it its own text layer. Because then what I can do is I can transform it. And then another thing I've seen a lot of people do recently is the whole contrast thing. They make like a rectangle of black. So what I can do is go grab a black color and fill in the let me try different. I'm going to try a diagonal. Okay. So what I did is I created a layer right there. And I made it pop. See that?
Yep.
I'm using
nice.
the same colors. And then what I could do is I could place, remember I told you about place embedded. And now I could go back to SociSnap and grab our logo. I'm just grabbing the logo and I'm going to place it right here. And I placed the logo right down here. Okay. Now, because I placed that logo here, I want to move the word watch up a little bit. And then what I can do is I can link the word live together with its little box. And I'm linking the layers. And I move that up a little bit. And I'll move SociSnap up a little bit because I want it to have enough room for the play bar. So that's inspired by the Golden Globes. What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, nice. It's just a matter of getting in there and playing with it and trying different things. Once you know that where some things are and what certain functions do, then you just play with it.
Yeah. Let me show you something that's really super simple to do. Okay.
Okay.
So right now I'm kind of editing a video of a guitar solo of the Doobie Brothers in Adobe Premiere, which is, I think I'm going to do another training on Adobe Premiere. But basically, I'm going to go in here and I'm grabbing a screenshot of where Tommy Johnston comes out and he's totally ripping a guitar. See, there he is like that. You grab it like a moment. I'll show you the simplest thing I can do. So I'm going to go grab. So I'm looking for a moment. There he is. Like he's in the zone right there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I'm going to now take this frame. I'm going to bring it over to Photoshop. I'm going to show you how to make a really simple thumbnail from that. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the secrets one that we had before. Okay. And I'm just going to paste in Tommy Johnston ripping away at the guitar. Okay. So now I've got him right there. And I'm going to get rid of our beautiful girl here. And I'm going to delete the layer mask. Okay. And I'm going to go grab his image. I'm going to make it full size. Obviously, I would start off with a much higher resolution picture, but I just want to teach you what I'm doing right here.
Well, and the better resolution pictures, you can do a lot better quality resizing, right?
Yeah. So I'm taking this picture and I'm now going to resize it so it's just totally ripping right here. And I'm more concerned with the height than anything else. So let me go and zoom out and look at the whole image, what it looks like. Okay, so that's what the picture looks like. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go grab that image. I'm just going to move it around so that the part I don't really want is off the screen. I want to have Michael McDonald, and I want to have him here. And I'm now going to go and grab the little container. I'm going to move it to the edge like that. So now this image, I'm going to add a layer mask. On the image itself, okay? It's going to be reveal all image. And then what I do is I'm going to use a gradient fill on the mask. Okay, I went the wrong side, so I undo that. I'm going to go from this side to here. And you see now how it looks like the word secrets. And it's kind of blending right into the words the way Hulu does it.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the edit and I'm going to go and transform the color. I'm going to adjust the hue and the saturation. And I want to match the red of his guitar. So I'm going to kind of do like a ripping red thing right there. And instead of the word secrets, I'm going to call it Doobie Jam. Guitar Jam. And then what I could do is go over to SociSnap. And I go to the popular emojis right over here. And I'm going to grab the, I like the ones with the stars in the eyes. So I'm just going to grab that one. Okay. And I don't think, yeah, Photoshop does not allow emojis. So what you actually have to do, there's a very useful website, which I recommend you all go to, especially if you're members of SociSnap. It's called Emojipedia. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to smileys and people. And I want to get to the starstruck emoji. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to grab the one from Apple because they have really nice emojis. And I'm just going to paste that in right here. Okay. Let me go save it and then place it. It's going to be better that way. So I'm now going to do is I'm going to save the image. It's called Starstruck, is the actual name of the emoji. Wait, what happened to it? Sometimes the hardest thing is finding where you stuck things on your hard drive. Yeah, it's there. Oh, okay. Got it. It's hyphen struck. Okay. What? Oh, it's in wrong folder. There it is. Okay. There it is. Found it. All right, so that's the emoji. So I'm going to put that emoji right here. I'm going to go grab the text. Move it up a little bit. See, that's like a perfect YouTube thumbnail for the Doobie Guitar Jam, right? How long did it take me? 5 minutes? Okay, so let me recap the steps. And I'm going to go show you my layers here because some of you can't see the other screen, but let me just show you. It's really simple. I always like to start with things and then just stack them on top of each other. Once you understand these basic principles, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. So here's my text. It's above, okay? Here's my starstruck emoji that I saved and I placed. Right here is my gradient. It's all going from here. And then right here, I added a layer mask to my image so that it has a nice bleed directly into a solid color. It really is super simple. And if you want to watch the other monitor, which is my 4K monitor, just become a member and we'll post that video in the members area. All right. That's what I want to cover tonight. If anybody got some value from tonight, I would love to hear you guys. What you're thinking of it is our new format. I kind of like just kicking back here and having fun with you all. All right, Peter, did you learn something? Yeah. Can you do this? Let me ask you, if I gave you the video of my other monitor, which is the 4K monitor, and you studied it in 5-minute chunks, because what I'm going to do is that's going to be broken down in 5-minute sound bites. Mm-hmm. Do you think you could replicate what I'm doing here and just make thumbnails?
Yeah, I mean, just in my monitor, I wasn't able to see you physically do it, unless you showed me a screenshot afterwards, but I didn't physically see you do it. Yeah. So, if I saw that, I'd be able to copy that and know where to go to get certain things and so on. I'd have to kind of hunt it around to find it, and then I'd be able to figure it out from what you showed me today.
Yeah, because the problem with the streaming is it would be too blurred and you couldn't see the tools anyway. So that's why I want to record it in 4K so that I can zoom in and make it really, really clear on exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it. But once you get these basic skills down, you're unstoppable. You're going to be making thumbnails that look as good as Hulu, right? And they look clean. They look crisp. Hey, Julie says, I use Photoshop. Very good lesson. Thank you, Julie. It's always nice when the boss who's in charge of the group of which you work for gives you an acknowledgement.
Yeah, Julie's awesome. Julie's awesome. Julie's
awesome. Julie is how many members do we have in that group, Peter?
Something like
8,000.
Thousands. Yeah, she's like a pit bull back there. I love it. She's great.
Yeah. I'm just the I'm just the wizard behind the scenes that makes things happen. But really, what I've been looking at is this butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. And what I've been teaching you tonight is 3 different butterflies, okay? Butterfly number 1 was I was inspired by the James Corden show and inspired by Paul McCartney, who I love dearly. I love his music. I love him as a person. I'm just a huge fan of Paul McCartney. And they know that because I watched that video all the way to the very end. And that was showing up in my feed. And I said, you know what? That video has as many views as Mr. Beast does. Right? Well, it's the James Corden show. It's Paul McCartney. So if you have one celebrity in your back pocket that you can work with, if you take these strategies I talked with you tonight, imagine if with one thumbnail, you could increase their views by 20, 30%. okay, you'd have a job, right? A career. All you did was make thumbnails for celebrities. I just showed you how to do it. I showed you the secrets tonight. Anybody can do this. This is super, super simple.
Awesome.
Okay. And so if any of you want me to do a channel review, there's a thing that we do. I'm really inspired. I want to be more like my friend Roberto. If you're watching this, man, I appreciate you for turning me on to StreamYard. Roberto Blake, you know, he's like my son's age, right? It's fascinating to watch him grow, and he wants to become a 7-figure earner. Well, Roberto, you ought to listen to Peter. Peter's a multiple 7, 8-figure earner. He could help you. And he's helped me a lot. Peter has helped me a lot with my business. And I'm really grateful for our friendship, and I'm really grateful for your inspiration and your camaraderie and just being an inspiration. And any way I can help you grow your channel, you know, you've seen it. You were flatlined until I started working with you. Dare I show that screenshot? It is a picture is worth 1,000 words. But seriously, folks, you got to get to your first million, because if you get 1 million views, you're going to have the minimum number of subscribers, and you're going to have a story to tell. And how you did your first million is going to make a difference. I got lucky. Let's face it. I uploaded one of my videos. I uploaded David Wood, and I uploaded the Doobie Brothers. David Wood got 500 views. Doobie Brothers now has almost 2.5 million views. It's just what's so, you know? And what I'm looking to do right now is what's called a pivot, where I'm taking the success that we had with the Doobies, reverse engineering my results, and then applying those strategies in a general form to increasing other people's channels, especially people who have as many subscribers as you. So I'm going to give you guys a challenge. And here's my thing is I'm working right now on a $500, $1,000 level and $2,000 level YouTube training. Just like when I released my Facebook training, it was $500, $1,000, and $2,000. I will give you my $500 training for free if you have at least 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. If you have as many subscribers as I do, which is right around 4,600 or more, I will give you my $1,000 training. If you have over 10,000 subscribers, I want to include you in my $2,000 training and also feature your products and your things inside of our member back office. That's why I'm doing these trainings right now, because I realized that my path to success is not about me focusing so much on my channel. It's about helping Peter with his channel. It's helping Brandon with his channel. It's helping Roberto, even though he doesn't need it. Roberto has 500,000 subscribers, right? But if I could add another 100, 200,000 subscribers with SEO, you know, I've been doing SEO since I was a knee-high to tadpole. Started doing SEO in '96. Was only invented by my business partner, Bob Heyman, in '95. So we do YouTube SEO here. We do tonight. Why we did thumbnails is because SEO, like it or not, it's about 5% of your overall traffic. But it's going to be the first traffic that YouTube will give you. Even YouTube itself has a training, which I shared with Brandon and a few other people today. They have a 2-minute training that says, hey, here's our algorithm. Here's how it works. It's super simple. You can watch it in 2 minutes. You will understand exactly how it works. And they start with search. They start with once people search and they click, do they stick around? If they stick around, how long did they stick around? And do you have a track record of keeping people sticking around And once they finish watching your video, what do they watch next? What do they watch before your video? In other words, do you have any friends that have channels that have lots of subscribers? Please write a comment in the chat anywhere you're watching this. If you have friends that have more subscribers than me or Peter, we have about 5,000, give or take. We're in the 5,000 mark subscribers. Our next milestone, you and me, Peter, is 10,000. Okay. We don't get a plaque from YouTube until we hit 100,000. Okay. You don't get to do super chat unless you know the trick, which I do, until you have 30,000 subscribers. So I'll take some questions. I'm going to go back to the live stream and see how we're doing. We're streaming simultaneously to 2 YouTube channels and 1 Facebook group, which I think is so cool because now we can we can scream to different audiences. Scream to different audiences. All right. Any questions? I can only see the questions from people who are watching us on our YouTube channels. Peter, is there anything you can see?
I'm not seeing any questions. No. No. I'm only seeing the ones in the 2 relevance. That's it.
Were there any questions on your channel?
I'm not on there. I'm on just the other one.
Peter, did you find that image of yourself without the logo where you're standing?
No.
Do you have that picture?
No, I don't. I don't.
All right, I guess I could try to work with it as is. It's difficult. All right. Well, do you want me to make one more thumbnail tonight, or should we call it a night?
No, let's call it a night. We're good.
All right. So we will be back here on Thursday. I'm going to be going into the new studio. I'm not going to be wearing a T-shirt. We're going to be doing the camera's on. We're still going to be using StreamYard. We're going to stream in the same places. So if you got some value from tonight, we're going to be talking about mindset and marketing as it applies to YouTube, social media, and being an influencer in the world. And, Peter, that's really your forte. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do in your mindset trainings?
Well, the mindset trainings are more covering the 90% of the business that people take for granted, which is here. And if you're not ready there, it's really going to defeat your whole business. It's not so much how to do the business, it's the preparation in your mind to be able to get through all the slings and arrows that happen and the ups and downs, because it's never a straight line. So you have to be ready in your mindset and what you want to do, and make sure that you're what we call a conscious creator and not a unconscious reactor to what's out there. So we talk a lot about that in what you think about, you become, and all these different things in the mindset trainings that we do, which is on Monday nights.
Awesome. That's Monday nights. This Thursday, what could we cover this Thursday? We're going to be doing a deep dive. I invited a few guests to see if they can show up,
Right.
that could give us some more inspiration. But I kind of want to make it around the content that goes inside of your channel, and also the stand, right? The stand. This book over here suggests that you have a creed, right? And think about that. What's your creed? Like SociSnap's creed is, all beginner trainings are free with your purchase of SociSnap. That's it. Advanced trainings and intermediate trainings, you pay for those, But everyone who's a beginner, all of my trainings are free with your purchase of SociSnap. That's my creed. So what would be your creed for intentional mentoring, Peter?
I don't know offhand, Victor. I don't know.
Oh, come
You're
on.
throwing this all out at me at the last minute.
Put it out. The best stuff pops when you're put on the spot.
I know.
Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna go look up the Assassin's Creed. I'll help you. I'll help you craft your creed. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to read to you just real briefly what the creed is, and then that's what we're going to talk about on Thursday. The creed is a code and guiding philosophy, and at least in the game Assassin's Creed, it's upheld from the high Middle Ages until the modern era. It restricts the unnecessary slaughter of innocents, preserve the reputation of oneself and the order, and meant to create peace not only but within the world, but within the individual. So there's three elements to it. Protection and educating of people who are innocent or beginners, right? Preservation of yourself and the order, and peace, not just within the world, but also within your heart and in an individual. So I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the Assassin's Creed, as you know. And so that's it. That's what we covered tonight. And I'm going to end the broadcast here in a few minutes. And thank you all for coming out. And if you got some value from tonight, please get back to the person who sent you to this video and say, hey, how do I play? What can I do? How can you help me grow my business? I'm Vic with Peter. Live long and prosper.
I can do that too. Thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye-bye.